Do you ever wake up with this longing for something or somewhere? Kind of like you're stuck in the wrong place.
See what you think of this then.
Ta-da! What are we looking at?
Bacteria, viruses, all huddle on the surface area like little microscopic aliens and monsters.
It's scary.
Which is exactly why we're here.
I just don't think this is my kind of thing.
If you think you can do better, be my guest.
Cash, of course.
I'm sorry, I don't have any change.
Oh, really?
I'm a control freak, aren't I?
Get involved!
Cheers, lads. Anyway, wait.
Why don't you come back next week?
Welcome back to day 3 of the People's Film Festival. I'm Festival Director Dustin Curtis Murphy. We have 50 short films streaming at kinoshortfilm.com/the People's Film Festival, and you can access all of them from now until Friday, March 12th for Pay What You Can Afford. You can also vote for your favorite filmmaker to win our £1,000 film fund. Over the past 2 days and earlier today, we've hosted some great live stream conversations, including filmmaker Q&As about Black Lives Matter, homelessness, female filmmaking, comedy, plus a fascinating conversation around Festival Directors Roundtable, which was to give filmmakers insight into how to make their short films festival ready. If you missed any of those and you're still curious, you can check out our live stream events to rewatch them on our YouTube channel, and please like and subscribe. Right now, I'm chatting with 4 animators from around the world who have worked in our festival, and I will bring them into the room one by one, introducing them. First up, we have Ryan Chu from Deep Fears. Hi, Ryan.
Hello, pleasure to be here.
You are calling in from Southern California.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Here, yeah.
I'm a California native myself, now in London, so
What's up?
Yeah, good to be chatting with someone back from home.
Mm.
On this side of the world, I will introduce Harry Plowden of Hugs. Hi, Harry.
Oh, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, good.
Are you based in London as well, or are you elsewhere in the UK?
Yeah, London at the moment.
London at the moment. Nice. And we have Tribambuka from Heart of the Nation joining us. Did I say that right?
Yes. Hello. Thanks
Hello.
for having me.
Thanks for joining us. And finally, Harry Plowden, also from the United States. Cameron Carr, also from the United States for Strange. Hi, Cameron.
Hey, I'm not from the United States actually. I have an American accent because I'm autistic and I adapted. I watched TV and movies, and I just liked the accent, so I picked it up at a very early age when I couldn't speak. I'm actually from Farnham, Surrey, which is in the UK, and I'm currently studying animation in Farnham.
Well, how about that then? Amazing. You did a great job at picking up the accent because you made an American think you were American. So fantastic work, guys. I love all the shorts. They're all very short. I think the longest one on the screen is 3.5 minutes, and everything else is under that. Before we start chatting about your films, let's just give a little bit of context about yourselves, a little elevator pitch of who you are. So Ryan, you, it says here you're a first-generation Taiwanese American who was born and raised in Southern California. Mm-hmm. And you're alumni of California State University, Long Beach, earning a BFA animation degree that you just graduated from. Congrats. Tell me more about yourself.
Oh, thank you. So, all of that is about me. I like animation. Working towards becoming a
storyboard artist, and I hope to be a director of like more films, like mostly indie. I am like looking into producing something more Asian American-esque, but also more fun and action-packed and like, Tarantino-like. But anyways, but yeah, I like sea otters. That's why I did Deep Fears in the first place. Favorite animal, and I like to look into a lot of like news and like hobbies, like you know like uh gun range stuff. Like, I mean, it doesn't look like it, like based on like the film that I made, but like I'm into like some heavy stuff like that. But like, yeah, I'm just really excited for my future since I recently graduated. I got like so many ideas that I really want to get into, and yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Fantastic. Harry, tell us a bit about yourself.
I'm a freelance filmmaker who graduated from uni like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. Moved to London then, and then I've just been trying to do anything freelance to make money while making short films on the side. And this is
So
one of them.
tell me a little bit more about your short film, your Film Freeway bio, which I researched before. So it's very little. It says you're from Sheffield and you're interested in how humans communicate and playing around with film to reflect that. That's all I have on you.
Yeah.
What other projects have you worked on?
Through uni, made some films there, and I guess I just became interested in I don't know, although I mean I'm a big fan of like social realist stuff. I was just always interested in how, a bit like Hugs, you can make something that isn't, with humans in it, and it isn't sort of necessarily like classical filmmaking, but in a way that becomes sort of more real as a result. I'm just sort of playing around with that, and then planning new ideas at the moment.
Nice. Well, Hugs is a great film, and as is Deep Fears. So welcome, guys. Now we'll move on to Heart of a Nation. So on the screen, it says Anastasia, which is your real name. I know your director's name is, did I pronounce it right when I introduced you into the room? Tribambuka?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's very confusing. I can't choose which one to use because I thought my Russian name is too long and complicated. So I came up with this artist name, which is easier to find as well. But I always get confused when I introduce myself.
No worries. So tell us about yourself and your filmmaking background.
I'm from Russia, St. Petersburg, and my degree is in graphic design, and I used to be a graphic designer for many years till I moved to London, and somehow I drifted to illustration because it looked like much more fun. I was tired of design, and then I thought I want to make things move. And I took like 1 year long course and started doing music videos for my friends and just small fun things. And suddenly my clients started commissioning me for animation, which is quite fun. So it's like really good way to explore new ideas and get paid for that. That this project was amazing because they just let me do whatever I wanted with it. It was really nice.
Well, that's an ideal brief from a client.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want. We're happy. I love it. So Cameron, tell me a bit about yourself. I read your bio as well. It seems like you have an absolutely fascinating background, and you've worked on a couple of other film projects as well. Can you share that information with me?
Yes. So this isn't my first rodeo in terms of doing an autobiographical piece. Strange, the one that has been nominated for this festival. Thank you again.
Absolutely.
This was based in my experience in Farnham, but before that, I did one when I was doing pre-degree, which is like college level, but it's like a program where basically you study at a university environment, but you're studying at a college level because it's very specialist. It's like art and stuff, which I'm very into. Obviously, I go to art galleries all the time. Well, not now, obviously, but before then I would. And
right.
So the previous film I made was Cameron Carr's Odyssey. It was like 7 minutes long. It had no dialogue. I normally, again, because I'm autistic and in my early childhood I couldn't even speak, I communicated through drawing, and I think that naturally, organically got myself into animation because I could communicate my ideas and thoughts and stuff visually without necessarily having to use words. However, with Strange, what makes it different to, besides the length, it's much shorter, and it doesn't take place in Rochester, it takes place in Farnham, but also it's probably one of my first animations where I narrate and I voice in the film. In fact, I did a spontaneous thing at the end where I record myself reading the script. So just to kind of prove that it's not a paid actor or anything. It's my own voice, my own words, written, said, and communicated visually.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's obviously a very personal film, and I think audiences are really relating to that. You have a ton of great laurels at your festival. Festival laurels on your poster. I'm a filmmaker as well. I've never done animation, so I'm really curious to know more from you guys. But I know you and me, Cameron, just played at the same festival. My film was at Damn Short Film Festival, as was Strange, I believe.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so I'd already seen it because you'd submitted prior as well, but it was good to see some familiar posters in their program. So now, why don't we move on to talk just a little bit more about your films rather than just yourselves as filmmakers. So there's a lot of variety. Two of the films incorporate elements of live action footage. One film incorporates archive footage. One film is made by a process called CSULB, and that's yours, Ryan. I know nothing about that. What is that, and can you tell us more about the process of how you made the film?
It's just some, like traditional animation, like animated on twos, like 24 frames per second. Yeah, it's basically like that, but it's all digital. We use I and my team use the software called TV Paint, which is like one of the industry standard animation programs. Like you got Flash/Animate from Adobe, you got Toon Boom Harmony, and you got TV Paint, which is like used for studios in like France and some places here in the United States that favor like frame by frame over like tweening, like Flash looking stuff like BoJack Horseman. And Toon can like do both, but like you could tell like if there's difference. But anyways, everything that you see in Deep Fears was hand drawn. We did not use After Effects. We did not use like any like tricks or anything. And that's because we don't know how to use those. So like we only
I thought it was a great artistic choice.
Yeah. I mean, it does like practically like since it's our first film that we ever did we don't want to go too far and too ambitious with visuals and tech. So we just did what like a lot of people know how to do, which is like just draw and flip pages, make sure that the timing and pacing's right, and and also the coloring was done by hand too. We did not use like a paint bucket. It's not like a fill-in thing. Like we literally have to like draw the freaking color in each frame. It was kind of annoying, but like at the same time, everything's hand drawn and not the borders aren't closed, so we can't like fill bucket tool it. But like the characters were simple. They were designed to be simple. Environments, they're also done by hand. They're also simple and like
well, simple but very, very beautiful. I love the hand-drawn elements to it. Like I said, it comes off as a choice rather than a limitation. So I definitely think it's great that you embraced the limitation and really transcended it to do something that I think is very beautiful and very classic.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, just something like look wholesome and lighthearted and like cute. Yeah.
Cute, but there's also some pretty deep themes in it as well. It really strikes a heart at themes of loss, and it's called Deep Fears. So fears and overcoming fears. And where did some of the inspiration behind those themes come from? And rather than it is a cute little cartoon, but it's more than a cute little cartoon. Where did you find the depth for the piece?
Oh, well, oh man. So, the film, uh, part of the inspiration, okay, like it's about friendship also, like aside from death, grief, and whatever. It's about friendship, value friends and their help and everything. But anyways, the main inspiration, which is extremely unfortunate, is my mom. She passed away back in 2018, and
I'm so sorry.
yeah, thank you. But uh, she really supported me on doing this kind of thing because, well, one, we're Asian, so like therefore art is bad. So like it's really like looking back, like she really supported what I was doing despite not understanding fully what I was doing. Um, the thing was that I have my interest and my mom has interest. She likes slice of life, like anime, like really like cute stuff. And me, I like action. I like guns. I like movies like District 9. All right, District 9 top 10,
Yeah.
top movie for me. But she still supported me, and since I was about to graduate, I wanted to create something that my mom would have liked, would have loved
Mm.
too. Yeah, and I mean, like, yeah, I'm into different stuff. Like, yeah, I'm into like dangerous stuff, but I also like cute stuff every now and then. I mean, come on. But anyways, I had the idea, but my mom passed away very suddenly. It's really unfortunate, and to honor her memory. I mean, I don't want my first film to be like purely a tribute. I still wanted to make a film that everyone could enjoy.
Mhm.
I don't want to force anyone to like it even more because it's a tribute. But like it's for her, and it's something that she would have loved.
Nice. Well, it's
Yeah.
a beautiful film, and and your themes really do come across as very universal.
Oh yeah.
The story that you just told isn't something that's out there in front of the film, but
Yeah.
I certainly understand how that has affected it and really brought a very beautiful sense of authenticity to the film. So, good job for taking a difficult situation and turning it into a beautiful work of art.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
Harry, let's talk about lockdown. You took a difficult situation and turned it into a piece of art. You took a lockdown and all the time and pain of lockdown and made a lockdown film, mostly which is animation, but then turns into live action towards the end. So tell me about your film and tell the audience more about your film to set the stage and give them context.
Yeah, well, I guess kind of the opposite of maybe the other people in this chat is I hadn't made anything animation before, but I just sort of suddenly had all this time and thought, if I'm going to make an animation, this is like a good time to use up these days. So yeah, I just sort of started thinking about ideas that could include animation, and that's sort of part of what led to Hugs, as well as I just had 3 different friends all tell me, like 3 friends that don't know each other all just happened to tell me that they were missing hugs, and I'm kind of interested in using film to create like physical reactions. So I thought, in a time like this, I'll try and make a film that hopefully feels something like a hug when people can't hug.
Well, absolutely. And that's the thing is, there's been a lot of lockdown films made, lots submitted to our festival. Some made it in, some didn't. In general, talking with a lot of people, they don't really like lockdown films because they find they're like living through lockdown. They find it so depressing. And, generally they want escapism, but your film is escapism. It is, it's uplifting, it's light, it's heartwarming, it's funny, it's, everybody can relate to everything within it. So I think, good job at doing those hugs.
Thanks so much. Thanks.
I'm a little bit sensitive to how filmmakers react to spoilers. But could I reveal a little bit in the context of our conversations?
Yeah, of course.
So I love what one of our jury members wrote about your film. And Nikki Brighton, she said, I love how it effortlessly flips from animation to live action. And I love even more how at the end, the artist's drawing come to life as a giant paper man and hug the artist. The deeper philosophical message being that it is an artist's creativity that gives him comfort even during the hard times. very well executed, and makes me want to give the filmmaker a virtual hug for coming up with this compact and creative tale. Let's talk real briefly about the comfort of our art and how art might have helped you get through lockdown.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Well, I guess, yeah, there was that sort of wave of, suddenly every single person is watching Netflix all day, every day, or, you're listening to music all day, every day. And it sort of was this sort of, way of, living your life without leaving your room. And I guess I was just sort of noticing that around me. And then, actually the whole idea started with that first moment of a little animation man like scrunching up the paper on himself, and then it going from animation to live action. And then when I heard, my friends talking about them missing hugs, I sort of thought, the two pieces came together to be like these paper that can move by themselves can then become this big old hug. And it all just sort of came together like that.
Did you find creating art during lockdown difficult? Did you find it easy, necessary? How did it, help with the mental stress of lockdown?
Yeah, because it took a few weeks before I had the idea for this. I definitely wasn't like, I didn't want to get trapped in that idea that with this time I must make something because, I'm not a real artist if I don't, or whatever. But sort of, I guess, sort of living through that life of just sort of, just taking the days as they come and hanging out with the people I live with and watching films and listening to music. This idea sort of just naturally came out of that. And then, it felt like a nice thing to sort of, I guess, celebrate and comfort the ups and downs of lockdown.
Yeah, the big ups and downs of lockdown. So, Anastasia, your film, Heart of the Nation, is about the NHS. I know it was a piece that was commissioned by the Migration Museum here in London. Was it commissioned before or after lockdown?
Well, it was between the second and the third.
Between okay.
So it was commissioned basically during the lockdown. So like during the first lockdown, and it was released at the end of this year before we went into another one. And
So how did that come across? How did you approach the Migration Museum with like an open call where they were looking for this type of content? Did they approach you?
I did a project in 2019, weirdly, about the concept of home and what home is, and it was a series of prints, like exploring all the meanings of this. Because as a migrant myself, it's difficult to define what home is. Is it where you left? Is it where you live now? Is it where you belong? Is it inside your head? Is it people? Is it a feeling? So it was really like confusing, and I decided to explore it. I asked all my Facebook friends what home is, and I made a big project. And weirdly, in 2020, revealed this shadow side, like home from a safe haven becoming a confinement. And here in Hackney Week, we had, before the lockdown, we had these open studios when all people come, and look at other people's work. And they came to my studio and saw these works. And they invited me to talk about, because they say everything about migration, it's usually quite dramatic. And you have this light-hearted work, so maybe we could do something together. Mm-hmm. And then they came back with this project, which they asked for animation for some reason too, and it's used as an opening for the exhibition, which is obviously digital, and the first online exhibition. So to enter it, you have to go through the animation, and then you see all the stories of all these people, read all the documents, and see what happened to them. So it's really like poignant and touching experience. It's really like, you might even have some tears when you go through that, and it's really
absolutely
touching. Yeah.
Is the exhibition going to be live ever, or is it only going to be digital?
That's a good question, because it would be so good to have it, because it's a brilliant museum, actually. It's interactive. You can go and listen to stories, sit in a chair and listen to someone like whispering in your ear a story of someone coming or leaving. And it's really, really brilliant. And I wish it would be in real life too. But for now it's online. So if you Google Migration Museum, you can see it. It's really good.
Nice. So, it's all about the NHS, which, obviously here in the UK is a big part of what's been getting us through lately.
Yes.
I am a big, advocate for the NHS as well, even though I'm an American. My wife is English, and we moved over here specifically because we wanted to have our baby through the NHS and wanted to be supported that way. They've been absolutely great. I created a film for TEDx NHS as well.
Oh, wow.
That we premiered a couple years ago. So we have within our festival jury, we have a filmmaker who's a doctor as well. So your work was definitely right for our festival, and it really resonated with us with its message. One thing in particular as well, my film that's doing the festival circuit now, that was at the same festival that Cameron's was at, deals with a lead doctor and some of the similar, a migrant doctor as well, and just some of the experiences touched upon in your animation were just, so universal of the prejudices, the unfortunate prejudices that migrant doctors face here in the UK of like, oh, you should go back home rather than being here. But these are really the people that are saving lives.
That's so true. That's so true. And it's just such a good time to bring this up. At some point, these big screens on the Piccadilly Circus, like massive screens. In December, they at the time when we used to clap to the NHS in summer on Thursday 8 o'clock. So they gave the time in December to show this animation and the stories of the people, to highlight, because we were not clapping anymore, but to remind what these people are doing. And it was so heartwarming to see when the first time it was shown, some of the people whose stories were highlighted, they came to Piccadilly Circus to watch it. And it was just so touching to see them and to thank them in person, for all their work.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been doing an incredible job, and they continue to do an incredible job.
They are.
Cameron, let's move to you now. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Strange? One of the things that I absolutely loved about your film was the line, hope you enjoyed sifting through my inner psyche.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of meta humor, being able to break the fourth wall and to play around with traditional narrative and interacting with the audience. I like mixed media. I like all sorts of things. I like I made a sculpture that you could interact with, like press a button. It's an eye camera. Long story short, it's an eyeball inside of a camera, and it's supposed to question technology and humans and stuff like that. But that's getting off topic. You want to know about Strange? Well, to put it simply, it's an autobiographical piece about myself, yours truly, and kind of like Ryan's theme or topic. It's about friendship. In particular, though, I basically discern, people and friends, because they're two different things, and actually, my headphones in the short, I have noise canceling because loud sounds hurt my ears. I have a high sensitivity to that. So, and again, it has to do with with me being autistic. Similar way with how my friends, I don't just hang out and laugh and stuff. They also help me through because before university, I'm in my third year now. I made Stranger in my second year, but before university, before pre-degree, i.e. college, I was studying in private school for a very long time, specifically for autistic people. So transitioning to, private school of just a small amount of students and such, with different kind of system to, let's call it a public school, even though it's specialized in art, it's still public, and it can be quite overwhelming. And so I would have to travel backwards and forwards to, take a tour, understand the building and the layout and how things kind of work, and it's been very helpful. But my friends have also helped me through my journey, and they still continue to be awesome. Like even just yesterday, you know, it's just like, yeah. And I think, yeah, I think everyone deserves and needs a good friend, I think.
Absolutely. So, I mean, your film is so personal, and you're so open in how you talk about these things. You also talk about wanting to, talk about dealing with autism, but from a more, positive standpoint of how it's, of how you are, rather than focusing on the negative aspects of it. What was it like to just be so open? Did you find that difficult? Did it just come naturally to you? I mean, I think the film really resonates with people because it's just so open and honest, and bravo for doing that.
Thank you, and that's very, very good to hear. Because like you said, it is very personal, and like you said, well, okay, you didn't, but I'm gonna say it. Autism is a very heavy, like complicated subject. So the fact that it resonates with people, that's really good news, because I worry that it's too personal, that no one's really gonna kind of comprehend. But fortunately, from your feedback and a few other feedbacks from my festivals and stuff, I'm very grateful. In terms of being open, I think I've been usually an open book about things. I think that could come as a perk or whatever, being autistic. At first I was thinking like, this might be too personal in the script, but then I realized, no, actually it's really funny, and I can turn it into something cool, I'm sure. And yeah, I don't know, it's how I've become personal, I'm not sure. It's just it's I don't know how to answer that, unfortunately. I just know that I am, and that's how it resulted in the animation.
Well, that's great. I'd say one of the things that I've noticed within my own work sometimes is that in the past, sometimes I've avoided certain elements of opening up and being super personal that were unique to me because I didn't see it reflected in other stories. And what I've really come to find is, the more personal I make the work and the more honest I am about the work, the more original it becomes, because people are so hungry for something other than the stereotypes and the tropes that have just been repeated through entertainment over and over again.
Yeah, that's a very fair assessment. And yes, originality is very important. I actually made a little short called Originality, and it was about like, how much can you borrow before it becomes original? Is anything original? And it's like but it's again told visually, and it's like the main character gets beaten up by Bart Simpson and Goku and stuff like that because he kind of resembles those two things. Yeah, it was just a fun little surrealist thing. But anyway, going back to Strange and about originality, I mean, here's the thing. Before I submitted it, like finished film, to my university, to be graded and so on, in my second year, I wanted to see, like, because it was so personal, because it was so seemingly random, I had to check if it was actually, if you could also interpret it as a traditionalist way, and it turns out it kind of does. I went through I took the core elements of my story and put it into a hero's journey, and there is a character development to it, because I start off as a baby hating people in general, but then as I got older I start to appreciate friends. But there's also going to be trials, there's still people, there's still annoyances, there's still trials, but I have techniques, various types, and the live action thing at the end where I show myself. That's because my friends, they're not going to be in Farnham forever. They're going to be moving out. I will be able to stay in contact with them on the internet. They can come visit and stuff, which is great. But overall, I don't really have a great memory either. I barely even remember most names, which is, so if I don't remember anybody, that's just I will remember your face, I will remember who you are, and so on and so forth. That, again, the visual aspect, it's just a name, I just need to keep learning and learning, and I go, yes, that's Bob, whatever. Same thing with my friends. I had to kind of learn their names, but I knew them straight away by their face and so on. But anyway, but going back to the, I think I lost track slightly, but basically, the heroes. Oh yeah, the live action thing. That was, and because I have a bad memory, I use art to almost record what I thought in that moment. And strange in itself is the return of the elixir. So bringing something to the world. So you've went on this journey, and I guess you could say it's this cartoon world where I'm it's an autobiographical piece, so it's like I'm documenting some of the memories I have at being at university and what was the most significant parts from that time. And now I returned it, and the live action element and the meta humor like correlates with each other. Does that make sense? It's very complicated, but that's I thought that was pretty cool. And obviously everything connects by association, and I guess that's the originality part, because like certain sounds and that, or composition or color or objects relating to each other. So, and animation is very well known for metamorphosis, changing from one thing to another. So I that's the freedom and creativity of animation. So I try to and I'll just wrap up by saying, not everyone's going to get it because it is, again, personal, but I'm glad that there is some, I try to make everything, logical, but not too strict, like, oh, it has to be like this. It just kind of naturally happens to be a hero's journey. I wasn't planning on it. I just wanted to tell a story that had a beginning, middle, and end. And most of it was like real life stuff. I just took the moments and turned it into a beginning, middle, and end. So it's like a story. So it's still true. It's just kind of, it's mostly chronological order because, I started as a baby and in my age now, but this might sound very complicated, especially to someone that hasn't watched it. And maybe if they start watching it now, they're probably going to be like, what the hell was he talking about? He had this, he talked about all these cool high concept stuff. And then it's just a all right animation. No, but
come on, give yourself more than that. It's more than an all right animation. You have a lot of support for it. It's been at a lot of festivals, and I think a lot of people love it.
By the way, everyone else talking about their animations just now, you guys, very cool. I really enjoyed listening. It gave more context to the animation. I think that's what Q&As are for. Very, it's appreciated. Yeah, obvious.
So let's talk a little bit about the animation process. I'm fascinated by it. I've never experimented with it, even though I've been doing film for years. I'm sure you all do it a little bit differently, but I mean, one question that I've always had is just how do you work as an animator? What comes first? Do you work on the dialogue and then animate to the dialogue, or is all that stuff come afterwards? And we'll start with you, Ryan. I mean, obviously there was no dialogue in your film, so you were just So I mean, what does your process look like?
Well, I don't really do anything like so experimental or anything like avant-garde or anything. No, it's like no, you just write a seed idea or log line of the story, and then like you do some sketches, like oh, what's the character gonna look like? It's gonna look like this. It's gonna look like that. You show it to people, you're like, oh my god, this sucks. You gotta change it. Critiques, but like, okay, you design the character, make sure it's animatable, and by that I mean like it's not too strict. It's not too ambitious. It's not too troublesome to draw. Something that like it's quick, yet the design just clicks. And it still looks nice. So then you do that character design, and then the viz dev, which is visually developing what the short film will look like. Like, is it going to look like this way? Is it going to look like that? Is it going to be anime? Well, it's not. Thief Years is not anime, but like, just you got to think about that stuff, and then storyboarding. You gotta plan out how the how the camera is gonna like look at the character, how they're gonna fit in the frame, and all that stuff.
Right.
And you use like.
So how does it work with
oh,
pacing?
the pacing? Oh,
so how does it? Yeah. So because I mean, one of the things that I work on so much in live action is okay. This actor did something that was too slow, or they did it too fast. So with animation, when you're doing things frame by frame, do you like do it and then realize that same thing, like, oh, this character is lingering around way too much, I need to redo it faster? Or how much room for error is there in that?
Well, before I like explain, so like we were working with a time limitation. Our professor told us that like, okay, our films cannot be more than 3 minutes. It used to be strict. I mean, my film, Deep Fears, it's like 3 minutes and 23 seconds. But she told us that like we need to keep it short. Well, why is it called a short film? It has to be short. So like, it did make the pacing and the timing decisions look pretty difficult, but at the same time, in order to make a short film, you got to get the point across pretty fast, effectively, and it makes sense. It's not too fast, not too slow, but like well, just make sure things are on point, like not that many exposition. I mean, like within the story of Deep Fears, I hope I don't spoil anything. It's never really explained why the sea otter is afraid of the ocean. It could be anything. It could be some guy coming up to the sea otter saying, "Don't go to the water. Don't go to the water." Like, no, it did not happen like that. No, it did not. That's not canon. But like, it's never really explained where the fear exactly came from. But you could take clues from what happens in the film on how it happened. And the dialogue, since there's no dialogue, there's no exposition, literal like verbal exposition to worry about.
Well, and I think that opens it up and it makes it very universal to where the audience can put their fear onto it, because we all experience fears. So that's a good strength, I would say.
Yeah. And is there like anything else? Yeah, you got to like push the the story along, like you need to fit this complicated, complex story about a sentient anthropomorphic animal who's afraid, and like you gotta figure this out, like how we're gonna do this, like how is a sea otter able to not be afraid of the sea, so like yeah, we gotta plan things out. It's not easy, or I could like simply, it's not easy to like fit that complicated mess into like
3 minutes,
like around 3 minutes. Yeah. But like, yeah, it's just like trial and error. Like I talk with like, I don't know, like 20, like 30 people. I'm sure like more filmmakers, they talk with like hundreds of people, but like, yeah, just I did what I could. I talked with people like saying like, hey, this could be cut down short. Like, hey, this should be explained a bit more so it earns more screen time. Yeah, like it's like, you have to think of the economy of like the time limit, like 3 minutes, and like how much exposition you want to put into it, how much can be cut down into something like 2, 3
and you're
seconds.
making a lot of those decisions beforehand, before you go in and do the animating, rather than collecting a bunch of animated footage and then leaving it all on the editing room floor.
Of course, yeah. Again, I want to be storyboard artist, so like other than planning the cinematography, we've got to think of the timing and the pacing, and of course like and socially, if it's not too awkward, or it's like it's being stretched out too long, just make sure, get to the point, and if it needs to be added, and if it's not, it's not. So like, yeah, I mean, I wish it could be simpler, honestly, but like, yeah, but
animation doesn't seem simple to me. I mean, that's why I think I've never tried it myself. It seems more difficult.
I mean, it is difficult, but like, with practice and, time, and like you do more of it, then like, yeah, it begins to be more easy. And it's like, it's like riding a bike, just, it's still difficult, but when you get the sense of it, you got that sixth sense to develop that way. So, yeah.
So we'll get to Harry, but just one more follow-up question for Deep Fears. You weren't the only animator on it, right? You worked with a team of animators.
I did, but, I did like, let's say like 90%, because well, for one, it's a small team, and two, some of those people were working on their films of their own, and you know, they got other stuff to do. I mean, I paid them, I tried to gift them stuff and everything, but like, yeah, actually, here, let me try to cut it down. Okay, so like, you know, they're helping me. I'm so happy. You know, some of them said they're willing to work for free, but I was like, you know, I'm still gonna pay you anyways. But then the pandemic came over, and a couple people were kind of scared of what's gonna happen. And I was like, okay, you know what? And this goes way back into planning how to do the animation because, you know, like I said, design the character, make sure it's animatable, make sure that it's simple. I kind of made the assumption that I was going to be the only one doing all this stuff, so that's why everything looks so simple like that, like so. So like yeah, they did help, and they helped a lot despite like how small their contribution is. They helped a lot, but like when the pandemic blew over, I told them, okay, just do the bare minimum. I'll still put your name down, and I'll still like tell you everything that goes on. You know, I actually told them about this. The Q&A. I keep telling them about like festivals that it keeps going over there. It goes to Amdogs, it goes to Jellyfest and Wholesome Film Festival.
Oh, cool!
You know,
You're a Jellyfest, nice.
Oh yeah, Jellyfest, yeah. But like, yeah, I had a team. You know, I have a team, and they helped. They didn't do too much, but I'm still honored and flattered that they believed in me and Deep Fears because again, Deep Fears was our very first film. You know, we talk about films and shit, but like, you know, we never done it before. So,
Great.
you know,
well,
but yeah,
amazing for a first timer, especially, and it's
yeah,
good to have the support of like-minded people. Harry, you were on your own.
Yes, yeah.
So what was your process, and how did you work creating the animation? How did you get the pacing right, and what techniques did you use?
Yeah, so yeah, I wrote mine as a script first because I think that, or the way I work it at least, that sort of helps my pacing a lot of like trying to make the script as long as the final film will end up in terms of pages. If like 1 page is a minute, I think people say.
Minute a page,
so,
yeah.
I always try and sort of fit that and then fit the film to that, and it sort of helps the process. But then in terms of the actual like animation technique and whatever, I sort of went like method with it in that if the character in the film is just killing time by randomly doodling, I sort of just started drawing without really pre-designing anything or working much out. So yeah, I just sort of ordered some felt tips from the internet and just started drawing. And yeah, Hugs sort of popped out of that. But I think I got lucky in that, especially with it being like the first time I've sort of properly animated, sort of the rougher the style, in a way, sort of the more character ends up in the end, because you sort of realize that it's actually a human making this animation, not just like an animation existing. So I think I got quite lucky.
Really works well with the concept. So you would just doodle it, and then would you redoodle it to make like minor adjustments to give the sense of motion?
Yeah, so I just I think you can buy a thing called like a light box, but I just typed in like white on Google Images, and then would just put my paper on my laptop screen and just sort of draw over it slightly differently again and again, and color them all in and scan them in, and yeah, just line them up in Final Cut.
And then once you did a bunch of those, tape them all to your friend and have him hug you.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice, man. Anastasia, what was your process? You were working with a lot of archival footage, and you know, you obviously put a lot of thought into the color palettes because everything works beautifully with the archival footage as well. How did you tell that story? How did you sift through all that to create such a beautiful, cohesive piece?
Basically, it was not like a collaboration, but I had certain frames. So I've been given the poem by this poet Michael Rosen, who narrated it beautifully. But also I kind of interfered a little bit because he revealed too soon that it's about the NHS. So I wanted a little bit of mystery in the beginning when you don't really understand what's it about. So we tweaked the text a little bit. And the color palette was defined by the exhibition itself and the fonts. So that was, and I've been given tons of footage and photographs, and I've been given very little time. So I had these limitations. So I had to think what I can do real quick that's going to be emotionally impactful, you know. So
How long did you have to work on it?
it was like I think about 6 weeks.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, animation is quite time consuming, so it's and with all the backs and forth, so it wasn't much time. So it's basically a mixed media animation, because I used everything I could get my hands on, like from color, like dripping watercolors in stop motion and filming it. And like I was into, you know, I was doing a bunch of like collages. I was really into collages then, and like doing tons of them, and I just scanned them. Oh, that can be a boat. Or, you know, so I just, everything I could get my hands on, and a bit of frame by frame animation in Photoshop. And so
nice.
Just jump on everything. And luckily, I'm co-running a little record label, so I have access to brilliant musicians and sound engineers and sound designers.
Sound was
so
spot on, yeah.
I asked them nicely to help me with that, and because it was very little budget as well, because it's a museum. And they did amazing job with like, they recorded like real clapping for NHS, you know, and which you can hear in the end. And the sound is, I think it's much better than the animation itself, to be honest. So I was really lucky on that front. So yeah, it was like, just jump on it and do it as quick as you can, and with everything you can get your hands on.
Well, I really love the collage element of it, not just from a visual standpoint, but from a psychological standpoint. I was wondering how conscious that was. I mean, you know, with the concept of migration, the world is becoming more and more mixed. You know, I'm an American living in the UK. I have a British Indian wife. So was the collage intentionally to represent how mixed our world is, or did it just happen subconsciously?
It was, I think, a bit of both. It was a happy coincidence because I really like doing this, and I had lots of this, you know, like that's an article that my grandmother hand typed, you know, back in Russia in Soviet Union in the 80s about UFO, and I brought some beautiful newspapers from India 10 years ago, you know, and I just used all these little things, you know, yes, to represent the diversity and, you know, this like strange mix of everything. So yeah, I think it was subconscious, but it was, yeah, I guess it was the right, right.
Yeah, the world is a collage.
That's true.
Cameron, what was your process, and how do you work as an animator?
Well, I mean, you know, judging from what everyone's said in this Q&A so far, everyone's process is very different, and I am no exception to that rule. It's especially different when, for example, you're working in a different medium. Like I said, I'm doing third year. I'm doing stop motion.
Oh, that's so cool.
Thanks. This is long story short. I'm doing an adaptation of a Polish folktale called Wawel Dragon, because I'm half Polish and I really love the story, and I wanted to make like an epic tale that's familiar. Well, okay, it's definitely familiar in Europe, but I think the idea of retelling a folktale or a fairy tale, especially in these times, I think would be quite refreshing, like another thing to do. But yeah, this is my grad film basically. But yeah, not just the medium itself. It's also like I think, you know, what kind of story you want to tell. You know, so for example, I'm going to do Wawel Dragon visual storytelling again with strange. You know, you play it by ear. You listen to the dialogue and you think, oh, how the lip syncing, for example, you know, something something literal, or you can try and think about like an image relating to it. Again, it could be literal or it could be metaphorical or whatever. Now, personally, the way I work, I like to have a good structure. That could be a script, that could be a storyboard, that could be an idea, whatever. So, you know, obviously, when I made Scuba, he's a shoemaker, I needed to draw various different sketches, and you can find this, by the way, all the behind the scenes. I continuously update. Right now I'm making a dragon as we speak. I'm doing this all at home, by the way, because university is currently closed, and I wanted to have my own DIY kind of studio, so that way I can just kind of film at home, not worry, and I can have like a 24/7 thing. But yeah, anyway, I had to plan everything, and plan the storyboard, plan what kind of what's going to happen in the story, basically, being faithful to the original tale. However, because like stop motion, you can move the camera around, you can like try different things. Sometimes the puppet, it's a really good puppet, but sometimes something might break, or something, or maybe you can't move its arm all the way that you want, or there's something really surprising, like maybe you accidentally touch his hair, and suddenly you got yourself a nice like animation secondary movement that you can play around with. So I thought that that's really good. And sometimes stop motion can surprise you. I even wrote a whole dissertation about it, poetry economics, relating to that. How to use what makes a good puppet animation versus a bad one.
Interesting.
And now in terms of Strange, like I said, the live action bit at the end, that was definitely spontaneous. I was reading the script in the sound booth at uni before COVID. I was reading it and I was like, oh, wouldn't it be funny? And then I did it, and it actually worked quite well. And again, with the times that we're living now, I had to also improvise a few things, like the TV bit at the end. That was also improvised because I needed something else. Because long story short, my tutors told me to cut something out, but then they said, "Oh, something's missing." I'm like, "Oh, okay. I guess I'll add something new in there." Yeah, it's just whatever. What are you gonna do? Let's see. For example, Sparky the Spark Dog, which is like a 30-second animation thing I done. I was just having tea at a cafe like a year or two ago. I looked at my tea, and there was just some lights, reflection from the sun. Nothing interesting, but to me, I saw, oh, what if I was bored and I imagined a character inside, and the lights start to form into a dog, like an imaginary friend. And so I mixed live action with 2D. And I think what I like about mixed media and stop motion and more or less traditional mix with digital stuff is that spontaneity. And like I said, it's not fully spontaneity. There needs to be a structure. I even did a storyboard for Sparky the Spark Dog, because I need to know kind of like the timing, what's happening, what's the point. Can I change this around? Can this be better? But I'm not too anal about the details to the point that, oh no, it has to be like that. No, sometimes you look at it and go, actually, this could be better, or this could be edited down, or maybe there needs to be an extra scene. And that's probably why I like stop motion, because it's this weird mixture between animation and live action. It's got this, it has two worlds kind of mixed together. I used to do a little bit of filmmaking, but I chose animation because obviously you can make a whole world in your bedroom, as proven with today's times. You can like create a whole world in your computer, or traditionally on paper, or a studio. It's really great. And I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, absolutely. So for example, one specific question for the transition between the animation and the live action, you probably did the animation, that bit of animation after you did the live action, so you could trace around it. But there's no, I love how fluid it is. I guess for me, I'd always thought, you had to be much more rigid with animation, and it seems like there's a lot of fun room to play.
Yeah, definitely. May I ask you a question, if you don't mind me reversing the table? What makes you think animation is rigid? That's quite an interesting statement you made. I always thought animation was fluid.
I guess for me is if I'm shooting a scene with an actor and he gives me a take and I don't like the take, I say, "Oh, give it to me again this way." When I think of frame by frame animation, I think how much time it takes to get a character to do something simply, and then I watch that footage back. I think I'll be so time invested in what I did that it'll be a challenge to make the decision, okay, let me start over to make that micro adjustment in performance.
That makes sense. I think there is a sense, especially nowadays with new technology, there's this over perfectionist kind of aspect, and some people can be too tempted to make it too perfect. And then and again, with what I was doing for my dissertation about stop motion, it's about trying to make it because if you try and like mask the human touch, there are some legitimate reasons, but overall, with stop motion, there's a need for that. And in terms of the live action in my film, the script was the same. I didn't change the script. It's just I gave it a different visual context by making it live action instead of just making it animation. So, like I said, I like to have a structure, but also have some room for spontaneity. So, but I kind of understand what you mean. You record something and you work on it for like a week, and that is the trouble with I suppose. But sometimes I don't know. Like what Ryan said. You get better, you practice, and you get faster at it, and then and hopefully when you make a scene that you don't necessarily like, or you want to perfect something, or maybe you want to try a different way, like especially if it's 2D and you drew it and you're like, well, like stop motion has that benefit of I can just move the camera and stuff, but and see what kind of shot I like. I don't know. It's like a dance. You got to figure out what works, I guess. I think sometimes you also, unfortunately, and this happens a lot in animation, you sometimes have to delete some scenes because someone at the higher up says they don't like it, or maybe you personally don't like it, or it's too long, or whatever. It just happens.
Yeah. It always happens. That happens in live action as well. All right, guys, we've been going for just about an hour now. I want to wrap up because since we're not in person at our festival, the opportunity to network is kind of limited. So let's just wrap up by telling me what's your next project that you're working on, and are you in need of any collaborators? And if that somebody who has that skill set is watching, how can they get in touch with you? So start with you, Ryan. What are you working on right now? Do you need any collaborators?
Oh man, I'm actually working on multiple ones because again, Deep Fuse is like my first, and like since it's been going so well, I was like, okay, now I know what works and don't work. So like 3 of them. The main one, it's called Trouble in Little Asia. That's like imagine if like Tarantino like took the animated Disney show Kim Possible and directed that, and it's full Asians, and it's like the character's like Asian, all right, and it's set in college, so it's up the ante in like violence and topics, and the fact is Asian American, and also college is school as well, so you still got to worry about that. Yeah, I'm working on that right now. It's low budget, just like Deep Fears. I'm like the only like animator, director, social media guy, and everything. But like, I mean, I would love to get some help, but actually, the thing I'm working on right now for Trouble in Asia, or TILA as I shorten it, like I would like to ask for help like later, like animators, if I could get like another storyboard artist on board. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The 2 other ones, like it's like in like it's like seed idea moment right now.
Just in early development.
Yeah, like one.
And if
like,
somebody wants to get in touch with you, how would they get in touch with you?
I have an Instagram at Ryan Chu Art, which is basically like my name, lowercase, and then you add art, and then, or my Gmail account, which is like Ryan Chu Art at gmail.com, like email. I do have like a website, but like Instagram and email is like the best place to like contact.
Get a
me.
hold of you. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, nice. Well, good of
Yeah,
luck.
thank you.
Good luck with Big Trouble in Little Asia, right?
Little
What is it?
Trouble in Little Asia. Yeah, I know. It's like the.
Sorry,
it's
I
like
get confused
similar-
with some other.
No. It's like really similar to like that '80s movie, like Big Trouble in Little China, like that
Yeah.
one. Which is where it came from, but like yeah, it's like Trouble in Little Asia, like Tila.
Trouble
so,
in Little
yeah.
Asia. Nice.
Yeah.
Harry, what are you working on, and any collaborators you're in need of?
Yes, I'm actually finishing shooting tomorrow on a new short film that again mixes live action and animation. But fortunately, I've ended up living with like an actor and camera people, so that's been like a fun thing. We've currently got like a set made in the living room that we're working off at the moment. But in terms of future projects, I think what I've learned from making Hugs as like a first animation is animation. There's sort of less of the faff of having to meet up in real life and shoot things in real life, and there's been a couple of projects actually that I worked on since Hugs where one day someone messaged you, the next day you on a Zoom call with them, and the next day you're making it.
Nice.
So I mean, if anyone wants to, don't know, do some funky animation, live action, anything, then yeah, my Instagram is Harry Plowden, which is Plowden, and yeah, we're definitely down to make cool stuff.
Nice and open. Anastasia, what are you working on, and are you in need of any collaborators?
Oh wow! Animation-wise, the next project would be a huge music video for my friends, and it's a very long song about the war of robots and people. So anyone who could contribute, that would be great. Especially something maybe like 3D or something artificial intelligence connected or something like that, because my stuff is mostly 2D, so something crazy. But I'm open to any crazy collaborations. Like,
nice.
I mean, yeah, like you never know what can come from space.
I love it.
And the best way to find me is, well, I'm a Tribambuka everywhere, on Instagram, on Facebook. My website is tribambuka.co.uk. There's my email as well. So, yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Cameron, next project. Obviously, you're working on your live, your stop motion that you've showed us, which is amazing.
Yep. This is where you can find the Vavel Dragon, so WAWEL and then .dragon, and you will and that's for the Instagram account where I post behind the scenes and all that jazz. In terms of animation, stuff building, puppets, I think I'm good. That's going pretty okay, and obviously animation's a slow process, building and so on, but it's going well for what it is, and I do have a musician. However, I am very open to anyone that's passionate about sound design, like sound effects and so on, or ambience. That would be really great. Get in contact with me via this Instagram handle. Voice actors, I'm also open to. Now again, there's no dialogue necessarily. I am toying around with a narrator just to give context for certain names like Vavel Dragon, Vavel Castle, Scuba, the Shoemaker. I'm debating on that because the music is from the sample I've heard is quite good. The musician, by the way, is he just to give him a little shout out. He made music, the soundtrack for Hylix 2, which is an indie game, and he's a super talented guy. He's my friend from America. His name's Chuck. He's a great guy and very talented. But I'm very open for sound designers or voice actors. And going back to the voice acting part, the main thing is there's no dialogue, so it would be like noises like
grunts and
noises. Human noises before language was a thing, I guess. So hit me up. I'm open for all that stuff. It's this is a student project, but I'm planning to put it into multiple festivals and stuff, and you would definitely be credited. And and we can obviously keep in touch and stuff. Yeah. And by the way, all you guys' projects sounds very cool. But oh, and one more thing. This is very important. The deadline, because I had to hand in the film because it's a grad film, May 17th. So if you of 2021, obviously. So if you're in the future and if you're watching this now, sorry you missed it. But hey, I'm still open to collaborate or whatever. If you want to just contact me and not just the film, it's at Super Wolfman, like spelt as one thing, because on the account that I'm very hairy, like a wolfman. So Super Wolfman. There you go.
Nice.
I'm very open to collaborate and all that stuff. It's nice working with people, and yeah.
Nice, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining the call, everyone. Fantastic work at the festival. I've loved all of your short animations. We're only on day 3 of the festival, so you can still watch all of these films until Friday, the 12th of May. We have our award show on the 12th of May, so we hope to see some of your faces there as well. And why don't you all have a good evening?
Thanks so much.
You too.
Thanks for the invite. I'm just gonna enjoy my day.
All right, cheers.